Good afternoon and welcome, or welcome back. Uh, it is Monday, July 14th, and goodness, I've got that big glare there. You have landed at Pat's Stamping Place. This is Pat Mayer from Akron, Ohio. Okay, I love to keep my glass mat here, but it does have that glare. What is that? I guess I can throw that away. I got so much stuff around me. It's my happy mess. Hello, Holly. Welcome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And you might be able to, well, this has a glare on it, not just the glass mat, because this is an embossing folder that I'm going to use, and I've got an ink pad here. So if you saw the, I don't know what you actually see when I mention what I'm going to be doing during the live, but I said I was doing a fun fold, and I called it a flip flap fun fold. Hello, Rose, welcome. And I know there are a lot of those out there, and I have seen several going different ways, this way, that way, and I don't know where I got the idea for this. A couple weeks ago, the week that I was gone, found some ideas, and I don't always write down who to give credit for when I make a sample. So I apologize for that, but I will move along. And Rose, to answer your question from last week, I did look for some photographs. I wasn't able to print something off that I had on my phone about using last week's big tree on a photograph. So it's still on my plate, I guess, to do, and I haven't forgotten about it. So just want you to know that. Okay, this is the fun flap. I'm going to have trouble saying this today. Flip flap fun fold, and then I'll show you a few other samples to show you at the end. But this is what it is. It flips and then it flaps. I guess that's the best way to put it. So you have basically another card inside the flap that folds over. And it does have some designer paper on it. I think everything that I sampled I don't have does show some designer paper, and you get to see both sides of it as well. And I am going to be using this amazing sunflower embossing folder because it goes with the paper that I'm using. So that's it. Okay, and I'll give you the dimensions as I go. I already have some of it done to speed things up just a little bit. So let me pull out what we have going. I always forget to take my watch off because it makes so much noise. Okay, I am using designer paper I've not used in a while. This is the Mixed Media Florals. It's been around for a while. It is an online exclusive. Let's move that to the back there. But it's got great florals here, as we know, we love our florals. This is the stamp set that goes with it, and I'm just going to use this little stamp here. And it does have a set of dies to go with it as well that cuts out this. I think it cuts out that little ladybug, and then there's another one that does not have a stamp set to go with, or a stamp to go with it. And I'm also going to use one of my favorite You Are Remarkable stamp sets, because I love, love, love the sentiments that are in this. And it kind of goes along with these florals. So That's where the sentiment is coming from. So, how are you enjoying this weather? I just came back downstairs and it's like 82 or 83 outside. We had a nice little rain shower this morning, which was enough to water everything, but certainly I still have some cracks in the ground on my lawn, but they mowed it today. Probably didn't really need it, but it's mowed. So anyway, and I've got these brush breast butterflies, which I continue to love as an embellishment, and I'm so glad they're still around. So let me set those aside. Okay, this is what we have. I pulled out an envelope this time for a change, and I am going to put that on there. But this is the card base, and I'm using a piece of Flirty Flamingo because that's one of the colors that says it's in this paper. So that goes there. But the paper is 5.5 by 6.25, and I've scored it at 2 inches. So this is part of the first flap. Then I have a piece of basic black, and that's what's going to go on the inside flap that also gets embossed with that beautiful folder. And this is 10.5 by 4. 10.5 by 4, so it will fit in to this regular card base size. And then that is scored at 5.25. So that's the basic flappy part. I will put a piece of basic white in there for writing on, or you could put more sentiments in there if you like. And that is 3 3/4 by 5. So just go over them again. 6.25 by 5.5, scored at 2. And then I'll go on and do that other in a minute. Then I have 2 pieces of this designer paper that are 1 3/4 by 5.5. No, yeah. Is that right? 5.25. 1 3/4 by 5.25. And that's going to go here. And the flip side is going to go in here. So let's do that first, then I'll review those other sizes. So I've got another one that I made with this same designer paper. Not this same paper, that is also from the mixed media florals. So let's get this on, and I love black with any of these bright colors. The one that I will show you is with Granny Apple Green. I love Granny Apple Green and black. Now, kind of watch, and I don't think I did on one of my pieces, watch if there's a direction on your paper. Not that it makes a huge difference, but it could in some respects. So again, this was 1 3/4 by 5.25. Flip this over and put the reverse side on the inside. And I suppose you don't have to. You could still do this in here if you like, but I'm going to go ahead and use this black part. Now, this is the part that I'm saying I want to be in the direction, so my little flowers aren't upside down. So I'll watch out for that. So I hope you had a great rest of last week. I don't know where the days are going. We're down to 27 days before the Alaska trip. and the 6 of us who are going had a gathering last week at one of the ladies' houses, and we are going to have so much fun. It was just laugh, laugh, laugh. Okay, so that part is done. Now let's get this part. And again, this was 10.5 by 4, scored at 5 1/4. And before I do anything more with this, let's grab this amazing embossing folder. And this is a 3D embossing folder, so it gives us a nice crisp image. And wait till you see some of the cards that I've got to show you, perhaps next week. There's so many to do with this, believe it or not. It's just not your regular old embossing folder because it's just so gorgeous. And you can actually get 2 card fronts in here. Oh, Rose, I'm proud of you. I really need to do some cleaning up of mine too. So it's pretty pitiful down here. You know, we always say that when we start crafting, we end up with 6 square inches of crafting space because everything's around us. And that is so true. So with this one, because it's a 3D, you need your first number 1 platform, and then following along with what it says here, with 3D, you need the platform, your embossing folder, and you want to try, if you can, sometimes depending upon what embossing folder you're using, it may not work this way, but you want to try and get your hinge part to go in first. And hello, Jane, you did remember since we just talked a little bit ago. Wonderful. And then you need a plate 4. So let's see if I can do this while I'm sitting down. And just get that going in there. There we go. And it makes that nice little sound at the end. And there is that beautiful, beautiful sunflower in black. Sunflower in black. Okay, now back to the inside flap. And before I do that, I'm not going to do any stamping on the inside. This is where the sentiment can go. Oh, hi, Nancy. Oh, yes, love this folder. And I've seen some of the amazing things you've done with it and other people too. It's one of the best we've ever had. So I'm going to add a piece that is 3 3/4 by 5. To the inside. So it's like putting another card on the inside of your flap. So I want to try and line that up as best I can with this piece that's over here. So there's our flip flap. So, but now we need something on the front of this. And I'll show you the one that I showed you at the beginning. Is that the one I showed you at the beginning? I don't know. So now I have a coordinating piece of the designer paper from the Mixed Florals. And this is, what I remember, 3 by 4. And then I'm going to stamp on this panel that is 2.5 by 3.5. Now here's where I probably should have watched my direction on this a little bit better, but I didn't. So before I put that on, let's do a little bit of stamping. And I've got this delicate little flower from the Mixed Florals. This one here. And I don't see where my zoom is. Okay, before I do that, let me go ahead and do the sentiment so I can get a better placement on that. And this is my favorite from this You Are Remarkable. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. So I want to put that a little bit over to the right side. So there's that. So now I know where I can get a better placement on this. There we go. And a little bit of coloring with Flirty Flamingo. Okay. I haven't used these a while. I don't think on one of my videos, but do remember that when you use the alcohol markers, they do bleed through. So you want to be careful of that with what you have underneath. And let's go over a little bit with the dark. Can't really tell too much, but it does add a little bit more dimension to the outside edge of that flower. Okay, very simple. How often do I ink my ink pads? Good question, Rose. Because I know you've probably had them for a long time. It actually varies. The ones that I use most often, obviously I re-ink more frequently. And as we know, the Stampin' Up! Ink pads are designed to be stored upside down when they close. And that's the way they should be. So, and you know, I think if your home is drier versus more humid, that could have a bearing on it too. So as long as you've got the re-inker, those ink pads are going to last you a good long time. Okay, so let's put this on here. Love anything that's black and white. Okay, how can it be glue flowing 1 minute and next minute it doesn't want to come out? There we go. And then this is going to go on here. And this is where I said this part is not the direction that it should be. But it's a card, it's paper, and I think it will be okay. So now we're ready to put this on. And be careful where you put your glue. You only want like from this part over. About halfway, maybe a little bit less. Because you don't want it to be glued to that pretty sunflower under there. Okay, now it's time to decorate and embellish. So as you can see, this goes together pretty fast. There was a little bit of cutting at the beginning, but I made several of them rather quickly as I was getting ready today. So let's add some Wink of Stella to the inside of this. Lots of other things you can do to that sunflower, but I'll save that for another day. Love to splatter that. Okay, let's add a little bit to the outside of this. It's hard to see, but I think my Wink of Stella is just about gone. Okay, so let's add a little bit of Stella to our flowers. It's always good to have some bling. Okay, I think it shows up. So flip and flap. As I said, there are lots of that type of card design out there. Flip, flap, fun fold, whatever you want to call it. So now we need, where did I put them? These wonderful butterflies. I don't think I've seen any butterflies yet this summer. What I have seen at night, though, that I really don't remember seeing so much last year, are lightning bugs. And let's put a big one. I'm so glad that these butterflies keep carrying over. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, let's go ahead and do the envelope since I remembered to get one out today. And I think I will use this paper because that's what goes with the inside. Thanks, Nancy. So let's add some glue to this. This would be a great thinking of you card, birthday card, when you just put whatever sentiment that you want on the inside. Okay, now I'll get this going in the right direction. And when I do the envelope flap, I typically try to do like 6 by 2 1/4. Now I could have also run that flap through the embossing folder as well. So don't forget that is an option when you want to decorate your envelopes if you don't have the paper that coordinates or you don't want to put paper on it. Run the envelope flap through your embossing folder. Hold on 1 minute here. It's kind of hard to see with the glare of my light up there. I really need to get my lights fixed, because there's one across from me that the fluorescent bulb needs to be replaced. And I don't know if I want to do that myself, so I need to get the handyman here to do that. So there's that. And what I mean by the envelope flap is you can put that flap in wherever you want it to go in any embossing folder. I guess it would be down here so that you can get that hinge to go through first, especially on this big one, and run that through. And you've got a really nice impression on your envelope. There we go with that. Now, let me show you some samples that I had. Okay, showed you that one with the same designer paper series, and also with the sunflower. Now here's one I used with the Gallery Blooms. I think that's the name of the paper. That is more of a could be more of a masculine card. And this one is Pecan Pie, a color I don't always pick up very often, but it was in the designer paper. So there's that one, and I did put a die cut in there. And then this one has the Friends Are Flowers in the Garden of Life with this designer paper. I don't remember the name of it right now. And also with the sunflower. And then this was my original prototype that I did with when I was gone a couple weeks ago. And for this one, this isn't from designer paper. It is from an ephemera pack that is on the last chance list. I don't have it handy right now. And when I did this, that's probably where I got the idea, and totally did not write down who did it. But this is one of the cards out of the ephemera pack. And it just flips over to give that prettiness there. And there was something under the Oh Happy Day that I didn't want on the card. I don't even know what it said. And then I just put that Oh Happy Day that I already had punched out and ready to go. Add a few little butterflies, and that one's good to go. And this one was with vanilla designer paper. So there we've got an array of cards, as well as the one that I did today. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next Monday. Not sure, maybe with the sunflower. It just kind of comes to me at the last minute. But I hope you enjoyed this one today. So have a great rest of the week. Do some crafting. Rose, glad your room is cleaned up. And have fun. Take care. Bye-bye.